Hello, hello. Gosh, my screen is dark. Dark, dark, dark. Oh, I forgot to get your cookies, didn't I? I forgot the dog's treats. Oh, well. I'm just testing this time period out. I don't think it's the best time, but I could be wrong. I'm talking about the best time to do a live stream on a regular basis. I went on at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Yesterday I went on at 4 p.m. But there was only a couple of people that stopped by, so it's going to take me a minute to build up an audience, and hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later. But there is something I wanted to read to you guys. Oh, let me fix this camera. I'm just going to lower it a little bit. Oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. It's really dark right here, huh? Hold on one second. I'm going to turn off the light over here. Oh, goodness gracious. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. My little doggy looking at me. There, and it's not so much in my face, right in my eyes. So I have something that I found that I want to read. Let me see if I can remember how to share the screen. I think right here. Wait. I think I have to do this first. Okay. Let's see. And then, let me get this pulled up. So, okay. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. That one. Uh-oh. Untitled, is that it? Here it is. Okay. This is a letter from a father that used to be a Scientologist, and I forget. I think he had a couple of kids in Scientology. Anyway, I haven't read it in a long time, so I can't remember exactly. So I will just go ahead and start reading it. It says, Scientology is child abuse by Dennis Ehrlich, Ehrlich. Early in the 60s, I remember seeing a movie that made a profound impression on me. It was one of the shockumentaries that was made after the success of the movie Mondo Cane, I believe. Perhaps some of you recall it. I don't recall it. I don't know. As a documentary about the bizarre practices of various cultures around the world, it was an eye-opener for any middle-class youth, especially one as sheltered in suburbia as I was. I was shocked and utterly fascinated by the diversity of cultures in the world, their differing views of life, and what was considered normal in various societies. Children who grow up in cults are cut off from experiencing the wide range of choices the world has to offer. Sequestered and insulted from the rest of, insulated, sorry. Let me, sequestered and insulated from the rest of the world, their parents' way of life is the only one to which they are exposed. In the movie, there was one segment, however, that was deeply disturbing, whose images haunt me still. It concerned child slavery going on at that time in Africa. In that segment of the movie, slavers were shown stealing infant children from their parents. They then put the children in confining cages where they could not stretch out, or they bound them using shackles to twist their tiny arms and legs into weird, contorted positions. These children were kept this way for their entire childhood, allowed to grow to maturity without ever being unbound. Their bodies became twisted into grotesque human pretzels, with joints bent in wrong directions and calluses on the wrong sides of their feet. When grown, these children were sold by the slavers as freaks to sideshows. I recall thinking that the children seemed totally normal before they were placed in these extreme conditions. That they survived it all is for me a testament to the adaptive power of the human body, mind, and spirit. These images helped form my conceptual model for child abuse. Any set of experiences which bind a child's body, mind, or spirit into a warped, contorted posture is abuse. Any activity which causes the child to adapt to extreme unnatural conditions is similarly abusive. This type of prolonged adaptation produces a twisted mental posture which causes the child to be maladaptive in society. Let me raise this a little bit. Libertarians may reasonably argue that adults should be allowed to participate in or subject themselves to whatever destructive activity they choose. When it comes to children, however, a different standard is universally applied. Children in our society are, by law, protected from many harmful influences or circumstances to which adults can be subjected or can willingly submit. While adults are allowed to go hungry on our streets or expire from the need of medical attention, children are generally protected from such neglect. The ability to think and the right to speak critically can be lost or knowingly forfeited by an adult, and we might say that he is a dedicated, single-minded, devoted, or focused follower. But a child, not having had the chance to develop the ability to think for himself, is, in theory, protected from any influence that would take that eventual right away. In Scientology, there have been enough verified reports of children being ordered locked in chain lockers on the flagship by Hubbard himself, or being subjected to the labor camp reform of the RPF, to know that the man had not the slightest regard for the welfare of children. Children are housed in squalid conditions, deprived of proper parental supervision, medical care, and generally considered excess baggage by the cult's leaders. The abuse, however, that I would like to address here is what I have personally witnessed. The mental and spiritual abuse perpetrated upon children raised in the cult environment. My 4 children, I had forgot he had 4. That's a lot. My 4 children were subjected to the practices of which I speak, and God willing, will someday be free of the destructive influence of Scientology on their lives. In Scientology, people are routinely deprived of their rights of free speech and thought, held captive, required to submit to degrading conditions, or undergo rehabilitation in the RPF program. They are subjected to shunning, sleep deprivation, and a concentration camp environment to accomplish the cult's brainwashing reform. These practices are not the worst of what goes on, hidden behind the public facade of the cult. Let me move this up a little bit more. They are also not limited to the control and manipulation of adults. Many of the most repressive and authoritarian practices are applied equally to defenseless children. These practices are based on Hubbard's stated philosophy that children are just thetans in little bodies and should be required to contribute as soon as possible to the group's survival. In a child's life, the application of this philosophy translates to deprivation of parental nurturing, the right to be just children. Instead, children are deemed upstat or downstat, have in ethics or out ethics, are on purpose or off purpose. They're segregated even more than their Scientology parents from normal influences of society. Their concept of themselves in relation to society is molded by Hubbard's own twisted world view. They learn they are very different from WOG kids. They absorb Hubbard's prejudices against the government, the education system, the mental health community, and literally everyone who is not a member of the cult. They learn the cult's concept of responsibility. If they are critical of Scientology or anyone in it, it is because they themselves have committed an antisocial act. They are instilled with the idea that the only worthwhile ambition they can have is to become a professional Scientologist and help save the planet. In the case of my own daughter, this conditioning translated in her young mind to helping Scientology stop people from slaughtering baby seals and other similarly naive images. Of course, she wanted to help save the planet. What child wouldn't? So at age 8, she became a Sea Org member. Imagine that, you guys. I was, of course, very proud of her. She worked 7 days a week till 10:30 p.m. at the Clearwater headquarters. She was a cadet until she was 15. It was with the grace of God that she escaped and started building her life back toward instead of away from society. It took, it took her several years of constant struggle to catch up from the education she received or didn't receive while a cadet in the Sea Org. She is currently receiving counseling to deal with the twisted ideas and unnatural childhood she experienced growing up in the cult. But nonetheless, she graduated from college this year, cum laude. Is that how you pronounce it? Cum laude, and is beginning a new life in the real world. Forgotten children in the movie Mondo Cane seared into my memory. It will for all time serve as a reminder to me of neglect and abuse to which I subjected my own flesh and blood in order to clear the planet. Fortunately, my children have all become strong enough on their own to overcome much of the handicap of growing up in the cult. They still bear me a certain amount of unspoken and well deserved animosity for submitting them to this abusive upbringing and for my parental neglect. Our relationships as child and parent may never be fully normal. In spite of this, I am proud to say none of my kids have hesitated to warn other children and adults, stay away from Scientology. Another of my children, who once had a wonderful sense of humor, claims she lost her ability to laugh when she did the communication course as a 6-year-old. Isn't that terrible? The bull baiting and the training drills tampered with her spontaneity and caused her to arrest her natural urge to react to things. As a result, she now tends to be placid, or is it placid, self-conscious, detached, and objective. Once that spontaneity was disturbed by the unnatural hypnotic discipline of TRs, she tended to be unreacting. I have known many adults in my cult career who displayed this fixed, robotic, unreacting countenance, but in the case of my child, it produced a reversed. Like her sister, she had a difficult time trying to adapt and WOG schools to the children and the need to catch up academically. After several years of constant effort, she managed to come up to speed with those she had. Years of constant effort. Kind of just ends. She managed to come up to speed with those she had previously considered her inferiors, the WOGs. Another of my children who rebelled against the notion of Scientology indoctrination constantly felt like the outsider in the family because she did not aspire to the same goals as the cult demanded. She was considered out ethics. This stigma, caused by her unwillingness to give up her natural tendency to question and be critical, created in her the self image of being inadequate and flawed. She blamed herself for being imperfect. Only now, years later, through counseling, is she realizing that faulting herself constantly for lack of perfection is unhealthy and came from the cult's indoctrination designed to control its members and keep them in line. It's almost over, you guys. My youngest child nearly died shortly after birth because of Scientology's distrust and unwillingness to get competent medical care for members. She spent the first several years of her life in a Sea Org nursery. I used to wonder why she would cry hysterically each morning when she was deposited in the facility. It was staffed by children, usually 12 to 16 years old, from the cadet org. Can you turn that down, please? Sorry, you guys. Oh my God. The nannies had no sense of hygiene, and the children often suffered from infections, illness, fleas, lice, scabies, or crabs. During all of this, I was so focused on my job in the Sea Org, Chief Quality Control Officer in the brainwashing factory, that until one day when I was changing my child's diaper, I saw little white worms wiggling their way out of her anus. I didn't realize the abuse going on. Shortly after that, I left the cult, but the image of those worms exiting my infant daughter still haunts me, just as the image of the twisted, forgotten children in the movie Mondo Cane seared into my memory. It will for all time serve as a reminder to me of the neglect and abuse to which I subjected my own flesh and blood in order to clear the planet. Fortunately, my children have all become strong enough on their own to overcome much of the handicap of growing up in the cult. They still bear me a certain amount of unspoken and well-deserved animosity for submitting them to this abusive upbringing and for my parental neglect. Didn't I just read that part? Um, Relationship as child and parent may never be fully normal. I think I have that in here twice. Sorry. I did read it twice. In spite of all this, I'm proud to say none of my kids have hesitated to warn other children and adults, stay away from Scientology. Okay. That was a letter I ran across when I put, because I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I wanted to see if there were any missions or any places that Scientologists gathered around here. I couldn't find anything. The only thing I could find was this letter. And I don't even remember where exactly I found it, but there are no missions around here, no orbs. The closest one is in Orlando, which I'm not even sure how far Orlando is from here. I don't think it's that far, maybe 3 hours. I'll have to look. But yeah, that's the closest one, I believe. I can ask Siri. Uh-oh. Oh no. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. How far is Jacksonville from Orlando? 140 miles by car, 2 hours. 2 hours away. Hey Siri, how far is Orlando from Clearwater? No, not how did she get Kansas from that? Hey Siri, how far is Orlando from Clearwater?
Richburg, South Carolina is about 567 miles from Clearwater, Florida by car.
Hey Siri, how far is Orlando, Florida from Clearwater, Florida?
Orlando, Florida is about 106 miles from Clearwater, Florida by car.
Wow, not far. So, 3 hours. It only takes 3 hours and 45 minutes to drive to Clearwater.
3 hours and 45 minutes.
Uh-huh. Wow, I thought it was a lot further than that. I thought it was like 5 hours. So, well, that's good to know. Yep. Yeah. So I told you I would show you what I made from the clay this afternoon. Oops. What I made were a couple of veneers, which means I just rolled out some clay pretty thin. Oops, I'm taking paper off. This parchment paper, because I didn't want it to stick to the glass. Guess I could have left it on there. But all those pieces that I shaved off, I just kind of arranged them on a thin piece of clay. And this is ready to get my little cookie cutters out and stamp out a pendant or earrings. I made another one. I just broke it in half, but that's okay. This one is with, this one has so much more blue than, I don't like this one very much, but I know I'll be able to get a pendant out of this that I like. This, I don't know what I'll do with this. I will probably make beads out of this. Yep, probably make beads out of it. And then I'll have beads that will match my pendant that I made, which is good. I should have just left this on the paper. Oh well, okay. Now, I have golly, this is full. This paint can is full of real cookie cutters, and some of them, I think they are all, no, some of them are clay cutters. You can't tell the difference. They all do the same job. So I just have to decide what size pendant I want. I like this part right here a lot. Let me see. I used to have these in a drawer. They were easier to see. Pee, baby. They were easier to see. Now, I told you I started packing. I might have started a little too early. Let's see. That doesn't have very much blue at all. I want to get the bottom of this. Huh. Ay. dear, it's always hard to decide what to keep and what. Let's see. Please, P, don't do that. Let's see. That's kind of cool. Yeah, kinda. Let's see. Nope. Okay. I think I like this one. I'll, of course, have to put this on a mounted on another piece of clay because it's way too thin. Oh my goodness. Little shrill little. Okay. Okay. And then I can use the rest of it to make earrings. What in the heck am I having so much trouble for there? I think that will be good. So, and oh shoot. Is that one? Yeah. Trying to think if I have one size bigger than that. I bet I don't. Oops. Shoot. Ay. Well, I guess that's that. Oh, shoot. Ah, shit. Gosh darn it. Ah. Okay, I have a bunch of smaller cookie cutters right here. I can make earrings. Oh boy. Hmm. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. Um, hmm. Okay. That's one. I don't know what I did with all my ball tools. Hmm. One. And oops. Um, hmm. Okay. Now what I do? Ah. Okay. And then um. Ay, ay, ay. It's so small. So small. Um. I think I'll use this one. Hmm. What is it, baby? He wants me to take him for a WALK. Don't you, baby? Don't you, little baby? Trying to figure out where to put this so I can kind of get a similar image, but I don't think that's going to work. So just do the best I can. Oh, I didn't even, damn. I can't even use that. I went off the side. Well, that wasn't very smart. Nope, not very smart. That one has a lot of blue. Okay, let me try this again. One. And 2. Okay, I hope this one works. Yeah, that's fine. Fine. I could make 2 more. 2 more. One. 2. Ay. Okay. Let's see. All right. And now all I have to do is make a backing for these. And this, I can run it through the machine and make it real thin, and then that gray clay that I have, I make a bunch of balls, like different sizes, different bead sizes. And then this is real thin. I ran it through the thinnest setting I could without it ripping. And then I just wrapped the gray balls with this leftover stuff, and I have beads that match my pendant piece. Yep. And I get rid of a lot of gray clay. So there is a matching bead. Oops. Okay, well, I'm going to get these pendants and earrings on some more clay. Like, see how I have this one on black clay, and I have a bezel going around the edge. So that's what I need to do to these pieces, and then I will put them in the oven and cure them, and then they'll be ready to resin and make into jewelry. So I'm going to go ahead and end this since there's nobody here, and one of these days I will build up an audience again. I've just been gone too long. So anyway, Thanks if you did stop by. No one said hi, but I saw some lurkers, which is fine. I don't mind lurkers. And I'm going to try to put out a couple of new videos tonight. Satire. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.